Hi there, Jill Allen from Jill Allen and Associates here. We are back with our final episode of our podcast series, Building Your Practice Dream Team, the X's and O's of practice marketing. In this episode, we will give you several tips and tricks on how to become an expert at practice marketing. Be sure to download this episode's amazing and comprehensive free worksheet, the Digital Marketing Checklist for a winning practice, over at orthomarketing.com/dream team.
Orthomarketing.com, 360-degree digital marketing solutions for your practice.
Well, hello, everybody in podcast land. Welcome back to another Ortho Marketing podcast. And I am so excited to continue our podcast series with the world famous, amazing, super fantabulous Jill Allen.
Ooh, I love it. I love it.
And we are here to talk today. This is part 3 of a 3-part series. But don't worry, guys. We're going to have another series coming down the pike sooner than later. So don't fret. And we're talking now about building your dream team. And now we discussed building a culture and building up your core values. Then we also spoke about getting the right team members in place. Now today, part 3, we're going to talk about how do you implement marketing, put together a game plan for your practice based upon your values, based upon your team, and based upon your goals. So, Jill, how are you today, my dear?
Oh, Dean, I'm doing great. I think that this has been, really good summer. I know we're all, just, packing a lot in. And I think this series has been super fun for me to do because I feel like this is those little tools that our teams need and our doctors need, especially when we're in this busy season of our practices and whatnot. And I think sometimes just bringing it back to the basics and having something to hold on to so that we can move forward into the fall and as we set ourselves up for success into our next new year. So I think this has been great, and I have been doing pretty darn awesome this summer. I can't complain at all.
The summer of Jill, you gotta love it. And I'm the same thing. It's life is too darn short, especially in this crazy world we're in now. So
Yes.
the chance to enjoy it, guys, please do so, because you don't want regrets. And life's great, so enjoy it.
Yes.
Get
Yes.
out there, enjoy, smile, be happy.
Yep.
Go see some music, go have a nice cocktail, go see your family, go fishing, go hiking, go on a tour, go whatever. Just get out, have fun.
Yes. Yes. Leave
Yeah,
the office. Leave
exactly.
working on
Right.
business, for during the work week.
Right, exactly, right. All right, so Jill, let's just talk about step 3. So you've got your team in place, all right.
Yep.
You've got your core values in place, all right. So now what we want to do is talk a little bit about what happens there. Um, as most practices know, you've never ever had as much competition as you do now.
For
Okay,
sure.
you've got people who used to be referrers to you are now competitors. You've got companies out there that are marketing directly to the consumers with a lot of money behind them and a lot of budgets. And if you do a Google search for, Invisalign near me or orthodontist near me, braces near me, um, first thing you're probably going to see is some of the big players marketing directly to the consumers ahead of you. Which is kind of a bummer. They're actually competing with you, and they're giving you and you're offering their services. So but that's going to change. So now you have to have a game plan in place. And as a consultant, I'm sure you train your clients on certain protocols.
Yeah.
You have to
Yeah.
have a platform. You have to have a beginning, middle, and end, just like every great story. And marketing is a story. So and guys, at the end of this, you'll be able to see it on the link that we have. You're gonna be able to download because you downloaded a bunch of the other stuff we put up, and now we've got at withthemarketing.com/dream team. We have a pretty significant um, strategy, a checklist. It's a 119 point checklist that we put together for marketing your practice. 119 pieces goes
Wow.
into a standard marketing program and strategy. All right, so that's a lot there. So let's talk a little bit about implementing a marketing strategy based
Sure.
upon your goals, based upon your team, your values, and the bandwidth of strategy that you have, and how much you can you do yourself versus how much you need help doing it and implementing it.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about you know your experience and the clients that you have, and what are some of the things that you see they need to do from a marketing perspective that once they have their team in place, because realistically, guys, marketing is a multidisciplinary step here. You can't do things yourself. You have to have um, literally five, six, seven, eight people in the real marketing strategy. Here at Ortho Marketing, we've got account management team. We have a SEO team. We have a web team. We've got a PPC team. We got a social media. We've got consulting. So we've got, and each of those has two, three, four, five people in it
Sure.
there. So
Yeah.
the fact that practice says, I got a marketing person. That person can't be an expert in everything. They can help it, be the chef in the kitchen, but you got to have the right ingredients.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about your experience and what you think a practice needs from a marketing perspective in order to excel.
Right, right. Well, I think especially nowadays, and knowing that I do focus a lot on startups and doctors who've maybe come in and done acquisitions or whatnot. I think the first thing that I'm always talking to my doctors about is you, how are you going to position yourself in the market? And I think that that's really good to think about. And what is going to be your message out? How are you going to do it differently than maybe the competitors that are around you? But also, how are we going to get you recognized? And I always talk to my teams about it starts with brand awareness. And how do we get people to be aware of your brand? Because once they become aware of your brand, then it becomes into brand recognition, right?
Right.
But we've got to do a lot of groundwork on that brand awareness component. And one of the things, and this is why Dean, I love working with your company. One of the things that we really have to get in place is, when we think about marketing, there's multiple avenues. I think that as a practice we have to do. We have to make sure that we're involved in our community, and we have to make sure that we're involved in our professional space. So that dental component or dental community, we have to do marketing internally. But nowadays, more than ever, I think we have to have a very solid plan and presence digitally, because that's where people are finding us. You and I have both been in this industry for a long time. I can say 30 plus years now. I remember when we would take out yellow page ads
Right.
and try and be the biggest on the page, right? Well, gone are those days. I would say most people listening might even be saying,
What's the
well,
yellow pages?
what is yellow pages? I
Exactly.
don't even know what that is.
Right.
um, but when we think about it, our digital footprint, our digital presence, that's where our patients are finding us. That's where they are. I like to use the word social proofing. That's where they are determining if you as an orthodontist, you as a doctor, your practice is going to be worth them taking the time to reach out. So
Right.
so I think that digital marketing is really where we have to be putting a lot of effort. And I'm sure you can speak a little bit more towards that, but I think that's a big component right there.
There is, everything is digital now. No, the terrestrial radio. Who listens to the radio? Nobody watches TV. It's on, on Netflix. Nobody.
Right.
I can remember last time I picked up a magazine and newspaper.
Yep.
Everything is digital. And there's multiple components to a digital marketing strategy that you have to be. It's called omni-channel marketing. You have to be everywhere. It's not
Yeah.
where you are. It's where they are.
Right.
So you need
Right.
to have main components. I always say your website is the center of the universe. That's the sun. And everything surrounds it. And all
Yes.
the planets are other programs like SEO and Google and paid ads and social media and reviews and and to have consulting and to get referrals and things along that lines there. But the website has to be clean. It's got to be lean and mean. It has to, and right away people have to know who you are, what you do, and how to contact you. All right, so
Yeah.
you got to have that in place. And gone are the days where, I used to build 30, 40, 50-page websites. Not
Who's
anymore.
got time for that,
Who's
right?
right.
Who's got
Now
time to read
websites
that?
yeah, now it's gotta be, 8, 10 pages is all you need,
Yeah, yeah,
and website needs to be a living, breathing creature. Um,
yeah,
we're in the world now, people want immediate gratification and interaction. And you think about it, if you go into a restaurant tonight and you go to their website and you want to make a reservation, are you going to pick up the phone and call them? Probably not. Are you going to fill out a form and request a
yeah,
reservation, wait for them to email you back? No. You need to have immediate way for somebody to schedule an appointment and book it right there, take the human equation out of it.
yeah,
I can't tell you how many practices get missed phone calls, don't respond to stuff because the staff is not trained the right way or just too busy. So you
yeah,
have to embrace technologies and automation,
yeah, for
and
sure.
and you guys might have a great staff, but they're busy. So
Mhm.
you need to make sure that your website, that somebody goes there, they can do what you want them to do. Let you control the journey. Let them book an appointment. Let them schedule or pre-qualify them. You have to be open 24/7, 365 immediately. You know,
Yeah,
if somebody, again, I'm going to use the restaurant analogy. If you go to a restaurant's website and you fill out a form and wait, if you don't hear from them within 2 minutes, you go on to the next one. Same
right,
thing with an orthodontist website.
right.
Or, so you're looking and you don't hear back from somebody, you want to schedule an appointment. Well, if you have to wait to hear if you get an appointment, no, you're going to go to the next one and book it.
Yep,
And then if you don't have the right system in place where where the person who books it is then automatically confirmed and sent the information, they're not even gonna remember when the appointment is. So you're gonna
yeah,
have so many no-shows. You have to have the right process in place, and that's, a company like Ortho Marketing steps in and automates it for you and builds it the right way. So websites are real important from a digital marketing perspective. Then, and again, the most important thing we do for our clients is SEO as well.
yeah.
So, you got to be found on Google. Whoever is listening to this or watching this, guarantee you by the time you've already watched this, you've Googled today 6, 8, 10 things that you looked for already. All right.
Right.
Somebody's looking for you guaranteed today. Are they finding you? Or are they finding your competition?
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
and I think, Dean, I think, for a lot of times for my clients, even just understanding what SEO is, that search engine optimization, and how do we, how important that is to work that in, not only to what's going on the front side of your website, but the back side of your website. And then how does that key into the marketing that you're doing as well? And I'm sure you can speak to that, a little bit more as well, but it really really compounds, I think, in everything that we're doing to make sure that, from, like you just said, the way we set up our website, to the platforms that we're on, to the way that we're going to come across, in our social personas. What,
Right.
are we going to be the educational doctor on TikTok, or the goofy one, or are we going to, do this or that? But it's all still, though, part of your brand, right?
Right.
And and making sure that your brand isn't conflicted either. And I know that is something that I see a lot, that a lot of times working with companies like yours, you really kind of help keep all of that, contained, so that we don't get too off. And I find a lot of times, when we have team members, if they don't understand the vision, or what that, that brand is supposed to be, and how all these pieces, all of a sudden we start to see these, kind of sidetracks, and it's like, oh, that didn't quite fit, or oh, that doesn't quite work. And I'm sure you can kind of talk to that, but I think you would agree it's really important, that we're, really kind of paying attention to all aspects of
Sure.
that digital marketing
Yeah,
footprint,
you're
per
right,
se.
and the staff members never go admit that, "Oh, sorry, doc, I didn't answer the phone today," but, we track every phone call and we listen to it to make sure that this, and I can't tell you that, how many people, um, do not answer their phone even during business hours.
Yeah.
If after 2 rings, 3 rings, somebody's hanging up, if they still wanna call you, because most people don't even wanna pick up the phone anymore,
I mean, and
but
I think that's an important thing. I mean, we've got, studies that show that most people don't want to talk to you. They want
right,
exactly what you're saying. They want to be able to log on, make an appointment, log on, find out what they need to know, log on, get what they need. And they just
right.
really really don't want to
Yeah.
make a phone call. And then I think what's even funnier is, I mean, like, when was the last time you actually listened to a message that somebody left you? Right?
Right.
It's almost bad form now to leave a message, you know?
Right? Nobody responds back to it. I don't I never check my voicemails,
Oh,
because if somebody wants you, they'll text you or reach out to you immediately
yes,
there, and
yes.
then all of a sudden you check your voicemail, you have 87 unread messages there, but you got to make sure that you're on it. So you have to make it, adapt, guys, and you have to have the right process in place in order to do so. Because, if somebody is filling out a form, again, you have to, if you don't have the right team member to respond back to that form immediately, request more information, they're gone.
Yeah,
So it has to be, you have to be up on step with that there. Hello, everybody in podcast land. Just wanted to remind you to make sure to head on over to orthomarketing.com/dreamteam to get your copy of this episode's free worksheet, the ultimate digital marketing checklist for a winning practice. This checklist, which is over 100 items long, breaks down each aspect of digital marketing and what we at Ortho Marketing recommend you to do to ensure that you have a winning digital marketing strategy. Again, you get your copy of this incredible checklist over at orthomarketing.com/dreamteam. Before you talk about social proof, and social media has changed a lot over the last couple of years. It used to be that if you put something up on Facebook, and now who's on Facebook anyway now, um, you know, people would see it. Not anymore. And practices don't understand the process when it comes to digital marketing and social media. If somebody's most probably, if you've got 500, 600,000 people following you on Instagram, Facebook, they're already patients. So and the odds of somebody needing braces again is pretty limited. So you have to understand that you're talking to the same audience over and over and over again. So the information you put out there has to talk to whoever's seeing it. So social media doesn't move the needle correctly unless you know what you're doing and
yes.
getting your patients to tell the world how great
Yep,
you are. That's what social media is. It's social. You telling that your same people over and over and over again, come in for a consultation. They already are coming in for a consultation. But if your patients are telling their friends how great you are at the end of schedule a consultation, that's how you get out there. So your social media has to have a real strategy involved, and you have to get your patients to help spread your word, and let them be posting for you, and then giving you the content. Everybody heard the word UGC, or user generated content. That's exactly what it is. It's giving your patients the ability to say how great you are, telling
yes.
their world.
Yep, yeah,
And, think about it. If you're in a community, and you've got, 20, 30,000 people in your town or area, and you've got a busy practice, 1,000 active patients, well, you got 1,000 moms, who potentially could tell all their friends about it. And that's how you build this practice up and how get the name out there. By just reaching out to the same moms over and over again, you're not going to move the needle at all.
right, right,
And that's
right.
things
Yeah,
that
yeah, for
change.
sure.
I think you have to have a marketing and advertising strategy behind it and a budget. You have to spend money. You know, you get incredible return on investment from marketing. I'm sure
Yep,
how important it
yep,
is. Um, it, putting money into marketing is like buying Tesla on at 10 cents. You get a huge return if you do it correctly. But you have to invest. You can't spend. I've got a client, and I can say where they are, but a very busy metropolitan area, and well, we're not getting any calls. Well, your budget is $500. You can't spend $500 to reach 5 million people. You have to have a real budget involved and understand the value of it. Otherwise, don't even bother. You're throwing that money out the window there. So it's
yeah,
important to have a real budget involved and have the right paid ad strategy to advertise on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and advertise on Google and retarget people. As a whole external advertising and marketing strategy that needs to be implemented correctly. And then your staff has to know what to do from there, and
right,
that's
right.
important.
Yeah. And I think, that's, for me, when I'm working with a lot of my, younger docs, younger practices, newer practices, that's a hard thing because we're already struggling with money, as far as, where our budget lands. And
Mhm.
so, I would say we definitely work a little bit more in that DIY market. Right. And I
Yeah.
know you guys are, part of this is, you're willing to help and give the tips, and for the docs that may not be ready to do those big budgets yet. But can you kind of talk to that a little bit? Because I know that there are some docs that are like, yeah, Dean, I hear you, I'd love to be able to spend 2 or 3 or 4 thousand dollars a month in marketing, but Jill's telling me I've only got 1,200, or I've only got that so if I've got to start small, how do I do it? And if I have to have a team member that maybe we're doing a hybrid approach or something where we're using a marketing team, but yet I still got to have a team member that can help. Can you kind of talk to that a little bit? Because I know that's something that I talk to my doctors about all the time. And how do we would all love to have that really, really big budget, but we can't sometimes. We are baby newbie startups, or I mean, we're just getting going. Our steps are just barely being taken in that first year.
You gotta have money to make money. You gotta invest money to
Yeah.
make it always. You have to have some sort of strategy, and if you've got X dollars available, all right, and you could spend $20,000 on a great mural or water fountain, or put $20,000 into marketing and advertising. Put it into the advertising and marketing, and then let the money come in and put it back into that. When you're building out a new practice, and if you can, cut back a little bit on these great bells and whistles, and you instead of spending 150,000 to build out, spend 120,000 and have put money put aside for it. There's no shortcuts there. You're in such a competitive market now. There are some basics that you need to do. You have to have a great website, as I mentioned. You have to have an SEO strategy in place.
Yeah.
Okay, you've got to have an internal marketing strategy in place, and be trained, and your staff has to know how to ask people especially patients, how to become salespeople for you and how to get them involved. If you
Yeah.
don't get them involved, you're not going to do it. And that's where the staff comes in. So there are baby steps involved, but in order to really get to the level you want, you have no choice but put money into the practice. You have to, but it's not that difficult to get the return on it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You're selling a pretty high ticket item. If somebody's coming in for braces, Invisalign, they're spending 5, 6, $7,000. Okay, and after being around the block and hearing some people speak, as far as um, you know ROI and cost, there's a pretty hefty margin available too. If you do it right, if you do it the right way. So you have to put and reinvest money back into the practice. If,
Absolutely.
if there's a way you could come out with a little bit of an extra budget, any time you can put a little bit extra into it, $500, $1,000 a month, that will come back, in spades, 3, 4, 5x plus on it there. But you gotta do it. Now think about it. If you spend $5,000 on advertising, okay, and you get on a conservative level 5 new patients, okay,
Hmm.
well, you spend 5,000, you bring in back 30,000. It's a 600% return on investment.
Right.
You know, then you spend a little bit more, spend a little bit more. Sure, you're not getting it all right away, but it certainly builds up.
Right.
So you have to, you don't need to jump in and start spending $10,000 a month. If you're in a very competitive market and you're a mature practice, you're going to have to. If you really want to, open up multiple locations, you're going
For
to have to
sure.
spend that kind of money. But it's not even close to, going to be able to break the bank, because you will get the return on it. There's not one practice we work with that does not get a return investment with the right marketing strategy.
Right. And I
You know,
think, you made a point earlier, and I think this is a real takeaway for me though, and this is something I'm working with all the time with my teams, is it is about systems though. So if we're going to put our money in, whether we're a large practice that's, going all in, or a smaller practice, it's about systems, right? And if our
right,
teams don't know what to do with those leads, if our teams don't know the appropriate kind of window, and don't really have an understanding of how important each one of those leads are to our practice, then we kind of fall flat, right? And I can speak to this, having been in hundreds of orthodontic offices working across the United States, that one of the things that I think team members can get really into is we get really funneled into this like tunnel vision of doing the job that's in front of us. And, so going in, oh, I just got a lead in my inbox, I need to respond to somebody, doesn't seem as important as maybe putting in, the paperwork that I need to remember to get into the chart, or this, that, or the other. And I think that's the hard part, is everything is important, but we have to remember, especially with our marketing, we've got such a small window to capture those patients. And so I think you would, like I was saying, I think you made such a good point. And it comes back to the systems, right? And the training that we've got for our employees, because, docs, you guys can shell out all the money you want, but you can't do everything. You can't be
Yeah.
supermen, superwomen of your practice. And if your team members don't understand the importance that that patient that's coming in through email, through text, that just scheduled an appointment, is as important as the patient that's standing in front of you. And so, let's talk a little bit about, how do you guys kind of help with that as well, like helping team members understand that, or what systems do you guys, maybe give teams that you think are good,
Well,
good things to think about.
now we try to automate things as much as possible.
Hmm.
I hate to say this, but the biggest hole in every practice is the staff, okay? Because they're
Yeah,
just busy,
they, they
and there's
they
other stuff on
are,
the
and
mind.
yeah,
So we have to automate things,
yeah,
you know, and that's why some things like Instacart are a great example. Because if you want to go to Instacart or a Fresh Direct and you want to order food, you don't call them up and say, "Do you have bananas and Cheerios and milk?" or fill out a form. You just add it to your cart and do it now. And same thing with the restaurant. You need to be able to automate your process and let people be able to do what you want. Let them schedule, because if the average person is reaching out to 4 practices
hmm,
that's who are looking for your services.
yeah,
4. The first one who gets in touch with a patient has an 85% chance of getting them in.
wow,
Okay, huge. Okay,
that's
so you
huge.
need to be the first person to touch them and to communicate with them. They're touching you. Now the thing is, you got to touch them
Yep,
right away, immediately, and that's where the process to be put into place is. You have to have an automated system where people can book the appointment. Follow ups are done automatically. Reminders are done automatically. You have to have a scheduling, booking slash CRM process in place that will be done, and then you have to be trained the right way to do it. You don't have to worry about these people who are coming in are not patients yet, so don't worry about paperwork and all this and getting them into your system, because they don't need to get into your PMS because they're not patients yet. You have to realize that
yes,
once they start filling out paperwork and you start doing scans, well, then they go into it. But until then, don't worry about it. Don't stress. Just go with the flow and be able and just let people book it when they can, and start implementing programs like virtual consultations, like we mentioned, like things like Smile Snap or Grin or things along that lines, where people can, or dental monitoring, where things are automated and
yes,
you have everything moving the right way, where using technology,
yes,
and that is the key there. Then when people are in the office, that's where the staff comes in. And what are you doing when you have a captive audience for 10-15 minutes for every time somebody's there? What are you asking them to do? If you don't ask, you don't get.
yeah,
So are you asking for a review? If you don't ask for one, you don't get one. If you're asking for a referral, if you don't ask, you're not going to get. Are you asking them to tag you on social media and take a video and post it and tell their friends how great it is? And give you the content. If you don't ask, you're not going to get. And by having that in place and teaching the staff how to do it, okay, um, is the game changer. Practice say, well, I don't have the time to put the post on Instagram or this or that. Let's do this. Let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's how long it takes to take a picture with a patient and post it.
yes,
You're telling me your
yep,
staff doesn't have 10 seconds a week? Once a week. That's all we're asking for. Not every day or every hour. Once a week will be a difference maker. Okay,
right,
so that's no excuse that there's no time for it or we're too busy. But you have to have that as you said, Jill, as part of your system. You
yeah,
have
and
to
I
have that
and I think it's
as part of your knee jerk reaction. You have to ask. If you don't, you're not gonna get it.
Yeah, and it is a system, and I think that that's the important thing is we'd love to just think everything just comes organically, like maybe when we're out and we're just personally snapping things and doing things and putting it out
Mhm.
there. But when it's an office, there are systems in place, like something as simple as, do we have a team cell phone that we use that everybody uses, so when they're ready to snap a picture, it isn't, oh Jenny, go grab your personal phone, or oh Doc, go grab your personal phone, or oh, and
Right.
oh, now we got to upload it, and now we got to da 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 da, and who's connected to the social site, and this, that, and the other. I mean, gosh, how simple is it to just have
Mhm.
a dedicated team phone that we're
Right.
using to snap our picture, that's already connected to our social sites, right?
Mhm.
And
Right.
we kind of know what our wording is, what we want. Boom, boom, boom. Like you said, it literally takes seconds if we have our systems in place. If we've thought ahead of time to say, hey, how do I take away all obstacles to getting content online? How do I take away all obstacles for getting people to push my brand, to share my content with their friends, with their family, to do that? And it's crazy, but it's systems
It
all the
is.
way down to the very, very basics of how do we get that picture.
It is, and then you have to know how, that's where, a consultant comes in, and you have to know what's trending and how to take a picture and
Yeah.
which way to hold the camera. Do you hold it this way or do you hold it that way? Well, how do you do the lighting? What's behind it? Where do you take the picture? Where does when do you post it? What gives people reason to think about it? Why would anybody follow an orthodontist on Instagram or Facebook? You have to give a reason to do so. So the post stuff you put up has to be a two-way street. So you have
Yep.
to know what to post versus just posting for the sake of posting purposes there. Then do you put it up on Instagram? Do you put it up on Reels? Do you put it up on Stories? Do you put it up on TikTok? Where do you do with it?
Yeah.
That's where you need to have a system in place and work with the right company to do it. But again, that's where your staff, you have a point person there to do it. And then you need somebody, like an author marketing, or consultant to walk you through the strategies and be there to hold your hand and give you the right tools and the right consultation to do the right thing, because you got one chance to make a first impression, and if you
Yeah.
do it
Yep.
wrong, you're gone.
Yeah, for sure. And I heard, something really great from Ben Winters, who's a big TikTok. Everybody knows, the Bentist. But one of the
Yep.
things that he was saying at our last conference was, he said, not everybody's going to be the same, but you just need to be authentic. You
Right.
just need to
Real.
figure out what your lane is and be authentic with whatever that is. So not everybody, I think too, doctors, there seems to be a lot of pressure to be like the so and so, or like this or like that. And really, there's some authenticity that comes along with this too, and figuring out what it is that you're going to do and how you're going to do it, and making it your personal brand, your
Right.
personal what messaging that you're getting out there. And then, Dean, I know that this then just works into everything else, because then it just, it all comes together,
It,
um
it, it
and it
does.
it,
Yeah.
it, it looks very cohesive.
Right. So there's a strategy in place, guys. You have to have it in place. You have to have a system. You have to have the right program. You have to have the right person to guide you.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's super important to do. So, Jill, we're going to have to cut it here. So,
Yeah, no
this is,
problem.
so again, guys, this is part 3 of the 3-part series. Please, in order to get all our checklists and paperwork and great cheat sheets, please visit the link at, orthomarketing.com/dream team. And you'll be able to really build things out. If you have any questions, please reach out to us, reach out to Jill. Jill is amazing. She can walk you through all the strategies of building your
Thank
systems
you.
in, because if you don't have the right, as mentioned, the right team, the how to, building the right strategy, you're gone, and as anybody who's followed me on social knows I'm a big, sports fan. Go Jets, Jets. And if they don't have the right strategy in place and the right draft team, they're not going to win. And this year we're going to win. So same thing, with your team. If you don't have the right strategy in place and know how to draft the right team and create the right strategy and create the right culture and then have the right, X's and O's, you're not going to
Yeah.
get there. So that's real important. So Jill, once again, if somebody wants to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do so?
Yeah, so the best way is to reach out through my website at www.practiceresults.com and just click on the Talk to Jill link, and they can set up a Zoom meeting with me, and I would be just happy to chit chat, find out where you're at, find out what you need.
Excellent. And again, thank you so much, Jill. This was great.
Absolutely.
Stay tuned, guys. We're gonna, do this again with Jill. She's full of great information, full of great resources, and
It's so much fun.
look at that pretty smile. How can you not love looking at that? So again, thanks so much, Jill. This
Thank
was a
you,
lot of
Dean.
fun. I really appreciate it. Everybody out in podcast land, thanks so much for listening. We love hearing your feedback. Thanks for subscribing to our channel, for listening to our stuff, and you never know what's going to come down the pike. So keep on smiling. All
Yeah.
right, everybody, be safe. Thanks, Jill.
See you.
Orthomarketing.com. 360-degree digital marketing solutions for your practice.